Fair City. Hi, Tara. Nice to meet you. Namaste. The inn isn't far. You must be tired from your trip. Thank you for taking me there. I am tired. I feel like I've been on a long journey. But I know it's only a few hours. Yes, the forest is known for sucking energy, but soon you'll feel much better and you'll be ready to explore the city. Here it is. I struggled to climb the stairs. I can do it. Move legs. Move feet, I commanded. Come in, come in. A voice belonged to another bright lady. Her robe was lavender and her cuff rings were neon orange. She walked over to me and gave me a hand. I must have been mumbling. Does everyone glow here? What, dear? I'm sorry? She led me over to the front desk. Tara put a hand on my back, just for an instant. A surge of hot energy crackled through me. I sucked in a huge breath of air and stood up straight. Tara smiled and moved toward the doorway. I'm going back to the gate. If you need anything, just ask. Everyone in Fair City is helpful. Bye. Bye. Thank you, Tara. I waved and watched as she rounded the stairs out to the grassy sidewalk. You must be tired from your journey. I'm going to give you the room with the water feature. She touched my hair. Yes, curls will appreciate water. Do you love water? I do, actually. I thought so. Here's a set of clothes and some towels. Take the hall right here and follow it down the stairs through the garden until you reach the pool. On the other side of the pool is room 9B. That one's yours. Enjoy! Again, the conversation was done whether I had questions or not. Oh, crap. Negative thoughts. What's that about? I wish I had a candle to light. Oh, but I have a candle. I realized my inner candle was out, and I took a second to imagine it burning bright. Wow, that really does work. I walked the path down the stairs and to the room. There was a lovely courtyard garden with lots of flowers and a small stream running through it all. My front door opened up to a patch of grass surrounding a deep blue swimming hole. I swung open my door and peeked in. The inside was decorated in a space-age garden motif. There seemed to be no separation from the nature outside and my living quarters. Tree trunks supported countertops, and sling chairs hung from branches, just like the sidewalk outside. Luscious green grass covered the floor. I realized I was in the upper part of a tree. Oh, a tree house. Maybe a faux tree house. No matter, I've always wanted to live in a tree house. Oh my gosh. In the center of the bathroom was a bathing suit, just my size. I threw it on and headed out for a swim. It's like a bathtub. No, a salty bathtub. I closed my eyes and threw myself out flat on the water surface, bobbing up and down like a cork for what seemed like hours. When I finally opened my eyes to get a good look around, there was no sign of change. The sun was still shining overhead, and the flowers were open and bright. But it wasn't hours, not even 1 hour. It was more like 10 minutes. The only thing that did change was the fact that I didn't feel tired anymore. I checked my inner flame, and it was still lit. Yay! Oh, I'm doing it. I'm going to be like these people here, like a bright lady. I felt a surge of energy coursing through me. Woo-hoo! I yelped and circled the pond with my best dolphin kick, splashing water everywhere before hopping out to get dressed. Phew! Man, I can't believe how fabulous I feel. I hadn't had this much energy since my college days. My gown was like everyone else's I'd seen so far, white and loosely woven cotton. It was warm but breathable, and most importantly, it was really comfortable. There were sandals too, just my size. I walked past the front desk to say goodbye, but no one was there. No matter, I'll go it alone, I thought. A trip around the block should give me my bearings. Right turns, I reassured myself. I walked down the entry stairs and made my first right. Oh, what's that smell? Oh, it's lovely. It was like a bouquet of roses. I closed my eyes and quickly imagined I was a rose, almost ready to bloom. I opened my eyes and saw a flash of green, my first bright man, standing on my next right turn. "Hello, newcomer," he said. On close inspection, his hair was almost brown and not golden or green. I guess it's the light that makes it that way. "Hi." "What? I'm sorry, what did you say?" He turned right with me, like I had invited him. "You look like you enjoy water," he prompted. I stopped and turned to address him properly. "I do. How could you tell?" "Wait, let me try. I noticed your light is greenish gold, and when I got closer, I saw that, oh, it's dumb, but I saw that your hair wasn't green, it was brown." He laughed. "And your light is blue." "You can see my light?" "Sure. I'm still learning the basics, but curly hair is about water. Then the next sign is a blue aura. But your aura also sparkles, so I'll have to learn a bit more." I caught my mouth gaping open. "That's amazing. You can learn it too. I'm Frank, by the way." "Hi, Frank," I said and introduced myself. "Did you come in with the last group from the forest? I mean, how did you know?" "It's the robes. In a few days or so, you'll be ready to learn something new, and then you'll get a new set of robes. I think it's got something to do with... Oh, this is my stop. Well, it's nice to meet you. Likewise. I'll see you around." And he left as easily as he came. Right turn. I stopped to notice there were street signs that were very descriptive. This one read, "Park, 2 blocks." I waddled slowly down the back side of my block. The rose smell in the air was still as fragrant. There were clothing shops, but they only had gowns like the one I wore. There was something very relaxing about nobody needing to wear hip duds. Maybe if uniforms gave a sour feeling, it might not be so good. But the fabric felt really soft and light, like silk. And they had a shimmering quality. Oh, maybe it is silk. Oh, that's it. I get it. I know that feeling. No want. I don't actually want anything. I don't want food or rest or to own anything. I don't need anything either. In fact, I don't desire anything at all. Well, other than to explore the city and how the sun never sets. Wow, I heard myself yell. My hand flashed over my mouth instinctively. The bright lady across the street looked over and giggled. I shrugged my shoulders sheepishly, but for once I felt at home. I'm okay here. Right turn. Oh, I was totally taken aback. A large stretch of new green grass caught me by surprise. But freakier than that was the sheer black of the forest beyond it. The inside of a movie studio was the only thing it sort of looked like, all matte black and devoid of light. I can't believe I was in there. I must have been standing there gaping for a while, because when I looked away, I noticed I was surrounded by 3 bright people and about 10 others who looked light gray. Are you okay? Frank? Yeah. Are you okay? You didn't respond to anyone's questions, and we were beginning to worry. I looked at each of the bright people in turn. I'm fine. I rounded the corner, and I think I was just shocked at the sheer black of the forest. I mean, beyond that hill, it's just nothing. No detail, no hint of trees or, gosh, anything. Yeah, I can't believe we were wandering around in there at all, interjected a follower. The woman's light increased as she spoke. I watched her become a full shade lighter. I raised my hand and said hi. I think you may have walked in with me and the bright lady. Oh, yes, I did. I remember it. I saw her globe beaming through the trees. So I ran as fast as I could, trying to catch her. I knew if I missed another light opportunity, I'd be stuck in the forest again for many years. Years? Yes, I think so. My name is Richiko. I was once a student of the light. I followed my master's advice unquestioningly. One day my master ventured away from the light, but returned and seemed unscathed by his choice, even though he had always told me the opposite. But the next time he left to travel into the void, I chose to follow him. He warned me that I might get lost in the dark, that there were many false lights and seductions. But I had a big ego, and I thought I was strong enough and knew enough not to be fooled by seduction. I had been an apprentice for a long time. I actually thought I was as strong as my master. Well, long story short, my master and I were in the forest one day. I remember feeling a wave of sorrow pass through me. I remember being very homesick, and a light appeared. It looked just like the entrance to the forest. I don't know what came over me, but before I knew what I was doing, I was walking toward the light. When I think about it, I remember hearing my master calling my name and pleading for me to turn around, but I didn't listen. I followed the false light for a while, days, I think, before I realized it was just another person like me. But then I was really lost. But then after what seemed like forever, I saw a light in the distance. This light had a different quality to it. I watched it get brighter and brighter until it was hard to look at head on. That's when I knew I'd better hurry. My legs could barely carry me, but the light was so bright, and I could see. I could see the shadows of the trees in my way, and I could run around them. That's when my light started to glow. I was happier with every step, and my energy increased, and I could run even faster. When I caught up with the bright lady, I could see you were there, right next to her, by her side. Your light was blue, like the sky, and her light was golden, like the sun. I was so grateful. I am so grateful. And now I'm here in Fair City. Tears were falling from her eyes. Everyone gave witness as Richiko told her story. Her testimony to greed, doubt, choice, want, and desire, her ego run amok. We could see her sorrow and regret, but as her story unfolded, her light grew brighter. I looked around at the gray faces listening, and they too were getting bright, as if she was telling their story also. Then the bright people's light bonded as they listened, and it surrounded us in a circle of healing pink light. It didn't take but a minute or two before we were all bright people. That's when they spoke. We know your story well, Richiko. Many of us came here exactly the way you described. We were lost in the dark, searching for a way out after a foolish act. We were all so grateful you made it here. Fair City is a brighter place because of all of you. This is a way station, a bright ball of light in the center of maximum dark, a lot like our galaxy. You must go to the inn of the newcomers and stop your wandering so you can finally rest. Fair City is a big place. You may stay here as long as you want, or go with the next group leaving to exit the forest. Or maybe you'll choose the way of mastery and depart with the next group traveling beyond the forest to the new earth. It is your choice, but for now we ask you to please rest, Richiko. With that last word, they let the ring of pink light fall and walked away. Conversation done. Just like that. No goodbyes or see you laters. I looked down at my hands and my body to see if it looked like the other grays gone bright. I was definitely brighter, but my light was still blue, like the sky. Somehow, I was different from the others. I wasn't lost in the forest, I thought. Well, shall we go? I heard Frank's voice. I began walking toward the next right turn when Richiko spoke up. What happened to the bright lady that led us through the forest? I'm right here. We all spun around to find the speaker. I'm Gwyneth, or Gwen for short, but you can call me Gwen. I answer to all calls. Were you there the whole time listening to Richiko's story? I asked. Yes. I had some work to do at the gate and saw you approaching. I waved, but you didn't see me. Actually, I don't think you saw anyone for a while. That's what got all of our attention. You want to tell us what you were looking at? I hung my head and thought about the sequence of events. I think I was in shock. I just kept trying to picture myself walking through the void with you and all the others, but I couldn't. It seemed like the void I walked through was the void in my mind. Curious, said Gwen. And how do you feel now? She asked. I smiled a huge grin. Pretty damn good. Everyone laughed. Glad to meet you. Gwen hugged every person there. Of course, some just laughed because they already knew her, but they hugged her anyway. We smiled a lot at each other as we walked up the steps to the newcomers' inn. I said my goodbyes to everyone and told them my room number just in case someone wanted to walk around the city later. I waved again and disappeared down the stairs to sit in the garden. The flowery fragrances wafted through the air. Butterflies danced from flower to flower, and hummingbirds buzzed by like bees. It was all very exciting to watch, but my gaze kept lingering on the deep blue water of the pool. I decided I'd go for another swim. Floating in the salty blue water was so lovely. My mind replayed my adventure around the block. It truly was an adventure, wasn't it? My mind chattered on, recounting the day and the people. I thought I understood how the light and energy worked, but that must have been my own ego and ignorance mirroring back false confidence. What was it my teacher was always saying? Oh yes, if your glass is always full, there's no room for anything. I know. If your ego is flippin' huge, it repels. If only I learned that version, I might have tossed that ego aside long ago. I let out a long exhale. I probably wasn't ready for that lesson, or I'd have got it a long time ago. I forgive myself. I wonder when this chatter is going to stop. For being a jerk, for being me, I laughed and gulped the salt water and lurched up, coughing and caught my breath. Duh, I thought. I sure felt happy. I am you and you are me and we are one big family. Yes, my song of compassion, insta-passion. Best to remember, we are all one and working to make our way further down the path. I returned to floating on the surface and looked up. The sky was still blue. Night never came. Maybe every minute was like a day. I set aside my curiosity. What I saw and what I thought I knew didn't apply here, and I was okay with that. My mind quieted and relaxed till there was just me and the water. I don't know how long I lay on the water's surface. I wasn't asleep, but I wasn't awake either. Somewhere in the land of the in-between, I guess. Time to get out. I put on my robe and found myself ready to explore the city, just like earlier today. There wasn't anyone in the garden, no sign of the new brights I'd met. I looked around in the lobby to say hi or goodbye, but no one was around. Though I did notice a map on the wall. Must be synchronicity. You are here. There was an arrow pointing at the end of the newcomers. And I want to go. Where do I want to go? My eyes scanned the map for something, anything that would pop out at me. The city center is a good place to go. Normally, I would have jumped out of my skin, but here I laughed and turned to see who it was. Oh, hi. We met yesterday, right, Frank? Uh-huh. You look a lot brighter now. Oh, and there's no yesterday or tomorrow. There's just now or today. However it suits you. Oh, thank you for that. It explains a lot. My mind was doing backflips, trying to fit my experiences into a time frame. His laugh was catchy. I'm going there now. Would you like to walk with me? Yes, thank you. How long have you been in Fair City? About a week, maybe. Those time questions don't really apply here. I've learned to say that I arrived as a gray. That gives others a better reference. Although no one really asks those type of questions. Yeah, I guess not. Then I guess I should ask instead, have you seen all of the city? He chuckled a bit, again contagious, and so I did too. I've seen about half of it, I think. I was here for a while before my light grew bright enough to travel away from the inn. But I love to travel, so walking around town increases my light. Gosh, how did you find your way here? Out of the forest, I mean. Well, it was really strange. I had heard about a new community forming where equality and respect were fundamental. In the early 2000s, I started to wish that I lived in a community that respected animals and nature and lived in harmony. Oh, yes, me too. He smiled at my enthusiasm. Anyway, I heard this community was just on the other side of this old forest, and a friend gave me the coordinates. I researched everything as best I could, and one day I knew it was time to leave. I went to the forest entrance and began my trek. Wow, looking back, I can't believe how arrogant I was. I thought I could simply waltz right through nature's barrier unscathed. What happened? Best description is, I got scared. I didn't know about fear and what it could do to you, making you see and hear things. I became scared, and then I lost what little light I had. But I wasn't totally unaware of what was going on. I found an unused hut to rest in and explore from. It felt a little like home, and soon after my light became a little brighter. Looking back, I believe I felt more secure and less afraid. Then a knowing started to grow within me, and it wasn't long before I left the hut. I had been practicing using my intuition to find the hut when I thought I was lost, and soon I became confident with my skill. Then I left the hut and struck out with all the willpower I could muster. My intent was to find the light and leave the forest. But as it turned out, I was only half a day's walk from Fair City. My intuition led me right to the front gate. I don't have words to describe how grateful I am to be here. I took a long look at him before I said anything. His aura was radiating. He literally had a halo around his head. I felt so blessed to witness his enlightenment. You have a halo. I flashed a huge smile at him. I think your light just changed. Like you got a level up or something. It's light purple. They told me when I got here that if your light is a different color, it means you're a leader. He was staring at the new light glowing from his hands. Yes, that's right. I've heard that too. Come on, let's keep walking. The center is just a few blocks away. I touched his arm to get his attention and got a shock. Oh! I wanted to say thank you for being with me. He stopped walking and looked at me with fresh eyes. How did you get through the forest? Oh, well, I was out hiking, just enjoying nature when I saw the forest in the distance. I thought I'd go for a walk in the forest too. The path I was on went straight there. It looked so inviting, you know? I do, said Frank. And there were these deer. Well, anyway, as I got closer to the entrance, I noticed the sun shining through the trees. I was just about to go in when I saw a woman standing to my right near the entrance. Kind of odd, really. So I walked over to her and we talked a bit, and then she invited me to walk through the forest with her. I didn't think anything of it at first. It sounded fun. Then as we walked, I noticed how bright she was and how very dark the forest became. And I could see things, lights reflecting back as we went. There were gold symbols along the path and trees. Yeah, they shimmered in the light of the lady, like they were greeting her. And as we walked, lost people and animals from the forest joined in. Finally, we got to Fair City. My light was still shining, but I was exhausted. Looking back, I was very foolish. I thought the forest was a bright place, but it was only her light brightening the entrance. When I asked her why she was there at all, she said she had been waiting for me for some time. I don't understand it all quite yet, but I'm so happy to be here and grateful for the opportunity. I've always wanted to live in a place like this. The bright lady, that's what I call her, told me to rest and that soon we will venture onward through to the other side. She said there's another larger city like this one, but for now, I'm supposed to rest and let my light gain strength. I looked up and saw that he was scanning my aura much the way I did his. His eyes had the intensity of a hawk, light blue with gold sparkles, and I'm starting to see some light purple too. You have curly hair, so you love the water, which is about energy and oneness, or the energy of oneness. The purple is higher sight, or one sight, and then add the gold and an emphasis in unity occurs. Yep, yes, that sounds right. Shall we keep walking? We crossed another intersection. Fair City was really amazing. There were no cars and no asphalt. All of the streets were covered in lush green grass. No street lights, no stop signs. No one was in a hurry. Wow, did you learn about auras here? I asked. Well, I knew about auras and chakra centers in the body before I got here. But since I arrived, I've taken a few classes on the subject. Classes are listed in the bulletin board by the front desk at the inn if you want to try one. Learning how to interpret the biofield has really helped my communication skills. Now I always have an icebreaker to fall back on. We crossed another intersection. Turn left at the next intersection, Frank instructed. Do you have any idea about how you're going to lead others, or what leading is about? He asked. It's not really solid yet. Does everyone learn to lead in Fair City? Maybe I'm wrong, but I thought it was some sort of way station. I'm not sure what you mean exactly, but people do come here to rest and brighten up. Yeah, that's what I meant. I looked up just as we rounded the corner. The air seemed to glow and crack in gold and green. The center of Fair City was a park with a luscious green grass field lined with trees and park benches. I felt like I had walked into a waking dream. I took one look at Frank, smiled wide, and took off running. Frank and I laughed all the way there. There were flocks of birds dancing murmurations in the sky, squirrels playing chase, and deer playing leapfrog. There were blankets of people sitting in classes on the grass and brights strolling along in shiny rainbow colors. Frank caught up with me, still laughing. I come here a lot to recharge. Why? I'm affiliated with Earth Energy. I enjoy the earth, the green grass and trees and the birds' song and nature. I fluffed my robe with cool air. Is this where you take classes? It's where I first saw classes being given. He pointed to the far end. That's the characteristics class. That's an aura class. Over there under the tall tree is a class on energy and movement. Looks like yoga. Frank motioned us over to the bench. What about you, Frank? Do you have any ideas or epiphanies about how you're being called to lead? He looked out at the squirrels playing. Well, even though I've just got a new color, my intuition says I'm an interpreter. He turned to look at me. His aura started to sparkle. Go on, I said, smiling. He took a deep breath. That's why I'm attracted to these classes. I'm learning how to translate energy in people around me and in the air. Oh, my next class will be about symbols, so I can recognize them. My eyes circled around Frank's perimeter. I could see he was in the zone and beamed him some energy. Keep going, I said. Well, when I leave for the place beyond the forest, I will also have a group that will be following me out of the forest, and I'll need to know symbols reading, to know symbol reading for that. And, when we reach the place beyond, I will be teaching, and I will also help to direct people to their programs and groups where they will co-create from. So I need to see their energy and know their characteristics. Oh, because I'll be sorting them. People will co-create according to what energy they were born into, the one they have the most natural talent for. Then he looked at me in the eyes with a really hard stare, frowns and all. But you're different. I can't see all of your path, but I do see that you raise energy through your thoughts and vision. Is it your imagination? Yeah, I guess so. You co-create through imagining a higher way. He was almost mumbling to himself. That's the singer component you're interpreting, right? I asked. Frank wandered out of his mumbles long enough to hear my question. Yeah, that's it. That's right. You know it. You are the singer. That's what I hear. But honestly, I'm confused about it. I heard a voice booming at me. God, it was so loud. And some flippin' idiot, I thought it was FBI or CIA. I got stuck in disbelief. My one chance to find out my purpose in life, and I threw it away. Frank stood up and held out his hand, smiling. But you're here now, and so it is, has been, and must be. He pulled me up off the bench so quickly I gained air. He chuckled. Yes, you're right. It is here now, and we are living it. All is well in the nature of things. All is what? I laughed again. It means everything is as it should be. We walked around the grass a bit. Why do you think your vision is diminished? Frank asked. I mean, you seem to doubt a lot, if you don't mind me saying. I don't know, Frank. I don't know what my next step is. I just seem to be floating along in life, scared of the night horrors I've been dreaming. We laughed some more. Yeah, it was brutal. Well, you're here now. Listen to that. Do you hear it? I turned to look at Frank, but his eyes were closed. What do you want me to hear, Frank? The birds are singing in unison. Can you hear them all? I closed my eyes, took in a deep breath, and listened intently to the air. Ravens' loving throat thump provided a beat to hummingbirds' high-pitched washboard call. Doves' coo added another level, and the raven's rhythm and warblers' whistles created a call and response lyric. A smile grew across my face. I opened my eyes to see Frank dancing freely, moved by the bird song. It's lovely. Oh, did you hear it? I joined in, swinging my arms and spinning my robe. I looked up just in time to see the ravens land on a perch above us. I throated a loving call back to them. You speak to animals? Oh, a bit. It's part of the Eden I imagine for myself. Some animals are easier to understand than others, but I don't think it matters. I seem to know what they're saying anyway. You are a master, aren't you? Oh, Frank, I don't know about that. No, I just expect animals can communicate. Most people expect less from animals. What about no expectations, no want, no need for the seeker? This isn't the same kind of expect. It's more like knowing. I know I can communicate, so I listen for the sounds. Sometimes the words are really high-pitched. I have to train my ear to hear beyond my thinking. Oh, I think I know some more about singing. Oh, Frank, it's just about exploring every facet of society and harmonizing it with the garden. I already know that the garden is the goddess, so it's all about singing us back to the garden, just like I was told. I was elated to teach Frank something new. Frank's eyebrows were raised. I think you've already said that before. Yes, probably, but I think I get it now. It's like the birds, and you're dancing. Imagine living in a place where we danced to the song and rhythm of the animals every day, or where we took classes on the lawn, or lived near a forest of apple trees, or provided places of rejuvenation just because it was needed. Frank looked a bit puzzled. So you'd sing about what you already see here? Well, here and more. I'd sing about all of the things I love about the world. I've spent so long researching places. I've lived in so many places and met so many people. There are Edens everywhere, if you expect to see them. And those beauties, well, it's like a painting in my mind. A bit from here and some from there, put all together to form a garden, an Eden. Yeah, 'cause Eden is more than a garden. Frank smoothed back his hair and looked at the birds. Yes, I see now. Eden is much more than a garden. It's heaven, it's flow, it's being. I threw my arms out. Woohoo! Yeah, no separation, the all one. Frank put his hands on his hips in a super stance. But how do modern Eden and ancient Eden stories relate? Everything halted. Huh? Well, I mean, how did we get thrown from the garden? Oh, well, there's actually a lot on that subject if you take a sweeping view. An asteroid hit and brought an alien to Earth called bacteria. And thinking in those terms makes one wonder if something cataclysmic occurred, like the Ice Age or a devastating drought that changed the landscape. Actually, the drought scenario is pretty good. I've never thought of it before, but it really fits. Yeah. Then we all forgot what it was like. Frank patted my back. Thanks for that. I strayed into doubt and reason, and you brought me right back. I finished his sentence. Both laughed at the synchronous phrasing. By providing you a more reasonable answer. For some reason, the Bible writers only sought to divide the people through doubt. And they gave a God-fearing reason that set off over 3,000 years of punishment to the goddess. It's as if their goddess died or was overthrown, and the Bible writers had to appease their idea of God. Basically, they threw her under the bus. It's a very dark history, Frank. Our light is being diminished by talking about this. I'm sorry I brought it up. Frank slumped down in a heap. No need to be sorry. It's lingering in your memory and our Akashic records. Those old stories create doubts that people are wrestling with all the time. Clearing that doubt is part of your singing. Yes, thank you, Frank. What happened? What did I do? All of a sudden you look like a shiny new penny. Erasure is part of Eden. What's erasure? I asked. Frank took a moment before speaking. It's sort of like rewriting your dreams. Oh, so we rewrite the old stories? Yeah, you got it. The goddess is alive, and all around you, if you are alive, you can see that the earth, or Gaia, is far from dead. The goddess never died, just our vision of her. I know a story about why that happened, but it's best not to tell it. Rather, it's better to say something positive, like God and the goddess are on equal footing and living in harmony. Yes, that feels much better. I felt an odd tug near my navel listening to Frank's story. You know, Frank, teaching feels like an egotistical exercise. Frank and I strolled along, listening to the birds. That's a lot to process. I feel like my mind has been doing backflips, trying to keep up with you, I said finally. You're right. I feel funny too. I need to stay here and recharge my energy, said Frank. Yeah, recharging sounds lovely. I'll see you later, Frank. Frank laid down on the grass and lazily waved goodbye. I let my intuition guide me back to the inn. I made a cup of herb tea before headed to the pool. Frank was right. I went too deep in my conversation again. Oh, that's much better. I wonder if the other people here are curious about things as Frank is. I finished my tea, threw on my suit, and plunged in head first. All of the words Frank and I exchanged swirled around my head like a whirlpool. The whole task was on the tip of my tongue. I floated on the surface, listening to my mind play out the exchange, singing us back to Eden, back to the garden, balancing the god and goddess, talking to animals, harmony, erasure, all is one, all is love. A rush of energy surged through me. I sat up, treading water. Yes. If we had included love, the topic would have come full circle and replenished us naturally. Eventually, my mind grew tired, till finally there was nothing. No more chatter. Grateful for the silence, I swam around the pool, feeling one with the water. It caressed my skin and flowed over my eyes and hair before I hopped out. These things need to be written down. Muttering kept me focused. On the small table by the window, I noticed a stack of blank paper and a few different types of pens. Oh, I see Spirit has provided. Thank you, Spirit. I made myself another cup of tea and sat down to write.